The courtroom was silent. Hundreds of alien nobles sat in a circle, their glowing eyes staring at the young woman standing in chains. Her silver skin sparkled under the cold lights, and her long dark hair fell over her face. She was tall, proud, and beautiful, clearly someone born to rule. But today, Princess Shira was not treated like royalty. She was a prisoner, Princess Shira of the Zural Empire. The High Judge said in a loud voice, "You have insulted the human alliance. You disobeyed your father, attacked peace envoys, and caused a diplomatic crisis." Shira raised her head. Her eyes burned with anger. "Humans are weak. They are not our equals. I only told the truth." Gasps filled the court. The judge slammed his staff. "Then you shall be punished in a way fitting your crime. You insulted a human. Very well. From this day on, you shall serve one." Shira's jaw dropped. "You can't be serious." But the guards didn't wait. They pulled her forward, dragging her out of the grand court, down the crystal stairs, and toward the transport ship waiting below. She screamed and fought, but no one helped her. Her family watched silently. Her father, the emperor, didn't move. Not even her mother looked at her. They had already given her away. The human base was on a dusty moon, far from the shining cities of her world. It was small, dirty, and cold. Young soldier waited near the landing pad. He wore a simple brown jacket and looked nothing like the powerful human warriors Shira imagined. His face was rough, his beard short, and his eyes tired. "This is the one," the alien guard said, pushing Shira forward. "You have been chosen, human Corvin. She is yours now. Use her, break her, do whatever you want." Corvin looked confused. "I didn't ask for this. It is a royal punishment. You must accept." Corvin looked at Shira. She stood tall, even in chains. Her eyes were full of hate. "She hates me already," Corvin muttered. Still, he took the chain gently and nodded. "Fine, I'll take her." The ship left, and Shira was alone. With a human, Corvin led her to a small metal cabin near the edge of the base. It was quiet there, away from the noise of machines and soldiers. Inside, there was only one bed, a table, and a small heater. "This place is disgusting," Shira said, crossing her arms. "It's not a palace," Corvin replied calmly. "But it's warm. You'll sleep here. You're not a slave to me, just a guest I didn't ask for." She glared at him. "I am not your guest. I am your punishment." "Fine," Corvin said, tossing a blanket on the bed. "Then be punished. Rest, eat, and be safe. That's all I'm offering." Shira didn't understand. No chains, no orders, no threats. Why wasn't he yelling at her? Why wasn't he forcing her to clean or kneel? She sat on the bed and watched him. Corvin cooked some food over a small burner, placed a plate near her, and said nothing. She didn't touch it. That night, Corvin fell asleep quickly. Shira sat in the corner, staring at the wall. She hated this place. She hated her father. But most of all, she hated this human for not being cruel. He made her feel confused. She looked at the door. No guards, no alarms. No one to stop her. She could escape. Slowly she opened the door and slipped out into the cold night. The sky above was black, filled with stars. The ground was silent. She ran into the shadows, heart pounding, breath shaking. Then she heard it, a low growl. She turned, and dozens of glowing eyes stared at her from the darkness. Strange beasts, thin and hungry, slowly crept toward her. She took a step back, but it was too late. They pounced. Suddenly, a bright light flashed. Corvin! He charged into the beasts, swinging a long metal rod, yelling, "Get away from her!" The beasts ran. Shira sat frozen on the ground. Corvin rushed to her side and pulled her up. "Are you okay?" he asked, out of breath. She stared at him. "Why did you come after me?" "I don't leave people behind," he said simply. Back in the cabin, she sat on the bed again. This time she took the blanket and held it close. Corvin didn't speak much. He made some tea and sat across from her. She watched him in silence. This human was not what she expected. The door creaked open on its own. Shira opened her eyes slowly. She had fallen asleep without meaning to. She remembered nothing after returning from the forest. After the beasts. After Corvin had saved her life. Now the cold wind whispered through the open cabin door. She sat up fast. Corvin was gone. Her heart jumped. The fire was out. The room was dark. Only moonlight spilled through the broken door. And something was outside. She could hear it. Footsteps. But they were not Corvin's. Something was sniffing, scraping, breathing. She stood slowly, moving toward the door with silent steps. She had no weapon. Her hands were shaking, but her pride wouldn't let her feel fear. Not yet. Outside, strange shapes moved between the rocks. Shadows. Four-legged beasts with long claws. Not the same ones from last night. These were bigger, quieter, hungrier. Her breath caught in her throat. They were circling the cabin, looking for her. She stepped back and closed the door, but something slammed into it from the other side. Bang. The wood cracked. Her heart pounded. She looked around. No weapons, no communication device. She was alone, trapped, and about to die in a place far from her world. And all because of a punishment. Where was Corvin? Then another bang, and another. The door shook with every hit. Suddenly, something roared behind her. She turned in fear, but it wasn't a beast. It was Corvin. His face was cut, his jacket torn, and he was carrying a weapon that sparked with energy. Back away! He shouted. The beasts outside paused. Corvin didn't stop. He threw a bright light through the doorway. It exploded with sound, sending the creatures fleeing into the night. Then silence. Shira stared at him. He was panting, bleeding, but still alive. She ran to the door and closed it with him. Where were you? I went to fix the outer fence. Something triggered the alarm, he said. I didn't expect a whole pack. She looked at his wounds. You're hurt. I've been worse. He smiled, just slightly, then he collapsed. She didn't think. She pulled him to the bed, tore the sleeve from his shirt, and began cleaning the cuts with a cloth. His eyes fluttered. You care now? She didn't answer, but her hands were gentle. That night, she didn't try to escape. She stayed beside him, watching, listening. And before he fell asleep, she whispered, Why did you really come for me? He didn't answer, but in his sleep, he spoke one name. Lyra. Shira woke up to the sound of rain. But there was no rain. It was Corvin. He was crying in his sleep. Soft, quiet, like a man trying not to be heard. His hand clutched something close to his chest. A chain, not hers, his. Small, old, and hidden under his shirt. She leaned closer. A locket. Curious. She gently pulled it out and opened it. Inside was a photo of a woman with bright eyes and a child sitting on her lap. Both were smiling. Shira stared at the photo. They looked happy. Corvin stirred. His eyes opened, and he saw her holding it. He didn't shout. He didn't pull it away. He only said one word. Lyra. Shira blinked. The name you said in your sleep. My wife, Corvin said. His voice was flat, distant. And my daughter. Both gone. He sat up, slow and tired. His hand took the locket gently. They died when the war came to my homeworld. I was away, fighting. When I returned, the city was ash. For a moment, Shira forgot who she was. She forgot he was human. She just saw a broken man who carried more pain than he showed. I didn't mean to open it, she said softly. I don't mind, he said. You're the first to ever ask. Later. That day, the wind howled outside as they shared food. Shira didn't look at him the same way anymore. He wasn't just a soldier. He was a man who had lost everything. And still treated her with kindness. She started doing small things, cleaning the table, boiling water. She pretended it was to pay him back. But inside, something had changed. That afternoon, they went out together. He showed her how to check the electric fence and use the scanner dot as they worked. Shira noticed a wounded creature lying near a bush, one of the smaller wild beasts. She expected Corvin to kill it. Instead, he knelt down, pulled a kit from his bag, and began cleaning the wound. "It tried to eat me last night," Shira said. "Doesn't mean I should let it suffer," he replied. She said nothing, but something in her heart cracked. That night, they sat by the fire. Shira stared at her wrists, at the faint marks where the chains used to be. She touched them gently. "You didn't ask for a slave," she said. "No," Corvin replied. "Then why didn't you send me back?" He looked at her. "Because I saw something in your eyes when they gave you to me." "What did you see?" He shrugged. "Pain, anger, but not hate. Not really, just someone lost." Shira looked down. No one had ever seen her that clearly, not even her own parents. But before she could say more, the scanner beeped. A message: incoming ship. Corvin's eyes narrowed. "That's not normal." He handed her a scanner. "Stay inside. Lock the door if anything happens." "Who is it?" Corvin didn't answer, but deep inside, Shira felt it. Someone was coming, and not just anyone. Someone from her past. The ground trembled before the ship appeared. Shira stood at the window, her heart beating fast. She knew that sound, deep, thunder-like hum. Slow and proud. A royal ship, but not just any ship. His ship. Corvin stepped beside her, loading his weapon with calm hands. "You know who it is?" "Yes," Shira said quietly. "Prince Kor." Corvin raised an eyebrow. "Friend of yours?" She gave a bitter laugh. "Former fiancé." Outside, the sleek black vessel landed in a cloud of dust and wind. A ramp lowered slowly, like a beast showing its teeth. Out stepped a tall figure in golden armor. His smile was sharp, his eyes colder than space. "Shira, he called with a mocking tone. "You look used to filth already. How fitting." Corvin didn't move, but his grip tightened on the weapon. Shira walked out, standing tall even in her plain clothes. "What do you want, Kor? You," he said. "And to see the animal you've been forced to serve." He looked at Corvin with disgust. "This is the human they gave you to." "He looks like a tired farmer." Corvin didn't respond. He just watched, calm, unreadable. Kor stepped closer. "You've had your fun, Shira. Time to come back. Your punishment is over. I'll take you home, and maybe, just maybe, I'll still marry you." "I'd rather stay in the dirt," she said. The prince's face twitched. He turned to Corvin. "What spell did you use on her, human?" "No spell," Corvin said softly. "Just respect." Kor laughed, loud and cruel. "Respect? For a disobedient princess? You should have taught her fear." Corvin's voice turned cold. "Leave." But the prince wasn't done. He stepped too close and whispered, "She will beg me to take her back once I burn your little home to ash." Before anyone moved, Shira struck him, a hard slap across the face. The guards behind Kor lifted their weapons, but the prince raised a hand to stop them. He smiled slowly, licking a bit of blood from his lip. "Very well," he said. "I'll return soon. And when I do, this planet will no longer be peaceful." He turned, walked up the ramp, and the ship lifted into the sky. Back inside, Shira sat down, hands shaking. Corvin poured her some water. "You didn't have to do that," he sighed. "Yes, I did," she whispered. "Because for the first time, someone stood up for me. Not as a princess, not as a slave, just me." Corvin looked at her quietly. Then he nodded once. "Then we prepare? For war?" "For a reason to stay alive," he said. For the first time since arriving, Shira laughed. Not a royal laugh. Not a forced one. A real, small laugh. It slipped out before she could stop it. When Corvin burned the bread again. You call this cooking? She teased, raising the blackened slice. Corvin sighed. You try using a heat plate from 3 wars ago, she smirked. Maybe I should. He passed her the tools, and to his surprise, she did. They stood in silence, shoulder to shoulder, working over the small stove. The air outside was tense. The threat of core returning hung over them like a dark cloud. But inside, there was peace, a strange, quiet peace. Later, a storm rolled in. Acid rain lashed the windows. The power flickered. They were trapped inside. The cabin, wrapped in silence and candlelight. Corvin sat fixing an old weapon, his fingers careful. Shira sat across from him, watching the fire. Her voice was soft. Do you think he'll really come back? Yes. And you'll fight? If I must. Why? Corvin looked up. You're not a slave to me, he said. You're not a punishment. You're someone worth standing. Beside, Shira turned away. Her heart was beating too fast. No one had ever said something like that to her. Not even her own people. The storm grew louder, like voices screaming outside. She moved closer to the fire. On my world, fire is only for royalty. Ordinary people use heat tiles. Here, Corvin said, fire's for everyone. Shira stared at the flames. I was born in fire, but I never felt warm. Corvin didn't speak. He just took off his jacket and gently placed it over her shoulders. She held it tightly. Why are you like this? She asked. You lost everything. You have nothing, and still. You care. He didn't answer right away. Then, in a quiet voice, he said, because if I stop caring, I become like them. The silence stretched out, then Shira whispered, Would you have wanted another daughter, after Lyra? His eyes softened. Maybe, she nodded. I think she would have liked me. Corvin chuckled. You? The angry princes who tried to stab me on the first night? Shira smiled. I never tried. I only thought about it. They both laughed, and in that moment, through the storm, the pain, and the walls between them, they were just two souls trying to heal. That night, she didn't sleep on the bed. She sat beside him near the fire, her head resting lightly on his shoulder. No words were spoken, but nothing more was needed. Asterisk. The sky cracked open like glass. Xir. A stepped out into the early light, her hair still damp from washing, her breath calm, until she looked up. They had come. Not one ship. Not a squad. An entire fleet. Black warships, sharp like knives, hovered above the valley. Their shadows covered the human base like storm clouds. Engines hummed with power. The air buzzed with tension. A red banner fluttered on the lead ship. Mark of Prince Kor. Corvin came out behind her, eyes scanning the horizon. He didn't panic. He didn't curse. He simply said, he brought an army. Shira swallowed hard. This is no rescue. It's a show of power. He's not here to take you back, Corvin said. He's here to destroy me. No, she said. He's here to punish me for choosing you. Corvin turned to her, but before he could speak, the sky thundered. A message blasted from the lead ship. Human Corvin. You are ordered to release the alien property known as Princess. Shira, you have 10 minutes to surrender. Or burn. Inside the cabin, Corvin locked the doors and began preparing. He didn't speak. He moved like a soldier who had done this before, because he had. Shira grabbed the small weapon and checked the power cell. I'm fighting too, she said. No, he replied. You don't have to. I want to, she said, eyes firm. I'm done running. Outside, dropships landed. Dozens of soldiers in gold armor poured out. Rifles charged. The leader walked forward. Prince Kor himself. His voice echoed across the plain. Shira, I'll give you one last chance. Come with me, and I'll spare his life. Shira stepped out onto the hill beside Corvin. She raised her voice, strong and clear. He never owned me, but I belong with him now. Gasps rippled through the soldiers. Cores. Face twisted in rage. Then you'll die with him. The first blast hit the ground near them. Dirt exploded. The cabin shook. Corvin and Shira ran for cover, dodging fire. Energy bullets flew like rain. Explosions lit the sky. And in the middle of it all, they stood back to back, firing together. Moving as one. She had never fought like this. Not for her pride, not for her empire. This time, she fought for him. For what they built. By the end of the first wave, they were still standing. Blood on Corvin's face. Burns on Shira's arm, but their eyes sharp, focused. And side by side. Far above. Core's ship hovered in silence. Watching. Planning something worse. Asterisk smoke still rose from the battlefield. The valley was quiet. Now too quiet. Broken weapons lay scattered. The wreckage of golden ships smoldered under the rising sun. And in the center of it all stood two people. Corvin held Shira's hand. Blood dried on his face. Her royal gown, torn, burned and stained, still clung to her like a symbol of war. They had won. Not because they were stronger, but because they never gave up on each other. News traveled fast across the stars. A human soldier and a disgraced alien princess had defeated a royal army and chosen each other. Alien councils met in secret. Some were furious, some were inspired, but no one could ignore it. Love had rewritten the rules. Days passed. Corvin's small cabin was rebuilt, with help from nearby human settlers and even curious alien merchants. For the first time, it felt like a home. Shira stood in front of a mirror, wearing a dress she made herself. It wasn't royal, it wasn't rich, but it was hers. Corvin stood behind her, dressed in clean clothes, a silver ring in his hand. You sure about this? He asked, gently. She turned, smiling. More than anything. The wedding was held outside, under open sky, with alien stars above and human soil below. No throne, no empire. Just a few soldiers, workers, traders, and wild animals watching quietly from the rocks. As Corvin placed the ring on her finger, Shira whispered, "This is the only chain I'll ever wear again, and I'll wear it proudly." He smiled. "And I'll never call you mine," he said softly, "because you were never a thing to own. You're someone to walk beside." They kissed. And across the galaxy, hearts shifted. Some called it scandal, some called it a miracle, but those who were there, they called it truth. After the ceremony, Shira leaned on Corvin's shoulder and whispered, "Do you think the stars will remember this day?" He looked up. "No," he said, "but we will."